This week on my Greenway food trails, I'm cycling along the Royal Canal Greenway and meeting some of the food producers and chefs to be found nearby. One end of the Greenway is in Maynooth, and very close to the canal is the magnificent Carton House, which dates back to 1739. Carton House is now a luxury hotel, and I'm here to meet Gary Rogers, the hotel's executive chef. Gary, thank you so much. It's great to be here in this amazing kitchen. Thank you.
You're more than welcome, Neven. Delighted to have you here.
And I believe there's a very special story about this kitchen we're in.
There is Kathleen's kitchen. Back in the 18th century, within manor houses and large houses around Ireland, it was the only kitchen, or the only house to have a kitchen above ground. Normally they were underground. So the thought process was that to keep all the staff happy, they're up and they're looking out at daylight, I guess. And
so a happy kitchen produces happy food.
Correct. Yeah, and that's what we hope to achieve in here, you know.
Yeah. Lovely, and it's got so much character. The beautiful windows, there's a lovely feel to it.
Yeah.
The guests can obviously watch the chefs cook.
That's right. Like the table here beside the kitchen is one of the most popular tables in the restaurant. They love to come in here, watch a bit of theatre, watch the chefs in action, you know, so it's really cool.
Well, we're delighted to be here. And what are you going to cook for me this morning?
So we're going to do eggs royale.
I'm looking at your menu, and did I see steak and eggs
Yeah.
for breakfast?
And it's actually quite popular, yeah. Especially with American guests would love some steak and eggs for breakfast.
Well, that's the first.
Set them up for the day, yeah.
Jeez, I'll tell you what, they'd be ready to do a couple of rounds of golf, wouldn't they? So what's the first thing we're going to do?
I have a pot of water on here, perfect temperature for me for poaching eggs. And in there I'm just going to put a little bit of white vinegar, and then we'll just put a little bit of salt in there.
Mm-hmm. People get nervous about doing poached eggs, and when you're using nice quality assured Irish eggs, they're hard to beat, aren't they?
They are. I love eggs.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll get a couple of poaching anyway.
Good plan.
So whilst they're cooking, Neven, I'm just going to get the muffins toasting on the grill here behind me.
Okay.
So I'm just going to butter them.
Hard to beat the old butter, isn't it?
You can never have enough butter.
You were showing me all the beautiful rooms. The Morrison room, oh my God, it's stunning.
Yeah, stunning, really nice. And in there in the gold salon, that's where we serve afternoon tea and breakfast.
That's your favourite room, isn't it?
My favourite room, so it goes on. But the Morrison's stunning restaurant, even for breakfast, for the views, you know, looking out on the golf courses.
It's spectacular, beautiful.
One of the nicest rooms in the country, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, it looks stunning.
Really beautiful.
Looks stunning. So eggs are on.
Yeah, eggs are on, the muffins toasting. Let me just see how these are getting on here. Oh, yeah, they're not too bad now.
A light little toast is what you want.
Light little toast, yeah, just heat them up. I wouldn't say we're far away on the eggs either.
Okay. Brilliant.
So I'm just going to put it onto some white roll here.
Yeah, and that just absorbs any excess water, doesn't it? You know all the tricks.
Malt and salt and black pepper.
Gorgeous. So the key is to have them nicely toasted, and the butter will do that. Beautiful.
Nice and rich with the butter. A nice bit of smoked salmon. Lovely. Nice and generous with it.
How would this be one of your most popular dishes?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it definitely is.
People love smoked salmon in
the
morning.
Love it. Lovely. And even our European and American guests, they love smoked salmon as well.
Yeah.
They say it's the best they've ever had, you know.
Really?
Yeah. And then just a nice bit of hollandaise sauce.
Lovely.
And again, nice and generous with it. And it's just enough, I think, like that.
Beautiful.
This is from local herb grower Dave Heffernan. He's just down the road.
Okay. Beautiful.
That's our Fairmont Carton House, eggs royale.
Oh my God, that's
delicious.
A little bit of microgreen gives lovely freshness to it, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Dill is always nice with the
Of course it is, and look at that. Well, that's a perfect egg.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I want a wee bit of this salmon, and then the muffin. I love the wee bit of butter. That's a nice tip. I love that rich hollandaise sauce.
Yeah, I love it. It's one of my favourites as well.
Harry, that was absolutely delicious. Thank you so much for having me here.
Privilege. Thank you.
I've left the Greenway briefly to cycle to Multifarnham for a cookery lesson at the Multifarnham Cookery School. The Cookery School is located in the grounds of a beautiful Franciscan friary, which is over 700 years old. Kamalika is a chef and cookery instructor who offers courses in cuisines from around the world.
Today what we're going to do is we're going to do a Sri Lankan spice blend, and I'm going to do one of my grandmother's fish curries with some wonderful tuna.
And there's so much different spices. Talk me through this.
Yeah.
This is the base for the curry, is it?
So we have cinnamon, we have coriander, cumin, fresh curry leaves. This is maize, which is the outer covering of the nutmeg. And we have cloves. And then we have a curry powder blend.
So this, what's in here is all these spices toasted and then blended in a coffee grinder.
Exactly.
Gorgeous. Okay.
Now, I'm doing it in a pan here, but back home we can actually do it outside in the sun. Wouldn't...
Stop showing off. Now you yourself.
I wouldn't take that chance here. But you can see already the cumin and the coriander is coloring. These are only in for the flavor.
You can just move them all around. No no oil, nothing.
Dry pan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing we're going to put into the pot now?
So if you like to put in 2 teaspoons of coconut
Okay.
oil. Now, while it is melting, I'm going to use some lemon here and just squeeze it over my tuna.
Ah.
I'm going to use teeny bit of sea salt and some black pepper.
Okay. And nice big chunks of the tuna, that's great.
Yeah, because we are cooking it in a curry, you know, the cut has to be chunky because it's a longer time. If you cut it really small, it could dry out.
Of course, and you don't want that. Okay.
So first goes in the mustard seeds.
And they're the yellow ones you're using.
Yeah, you have to be careful because they will start...
Can I move that?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're giving me a curry master class here. This is brilliant. Oh, you can hear them popping away.
And then we put in curry leaves, cinnamon.
Lovely.
And I'm using shallots here.
Okay.
I'm going to put in my curry powder straight on here.
So how much are you putting in? About 2?
So 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
Giving it a chance to roast up.
Yeah.
Some turmeric. Now chili powder, you can play around with this.
I'd say you like spicy food.
Yes, but I want all the guys here to taste it later, so I'm going with half a teaspoon. I don't know what their spice level is.
And if you were to make this for yourself and your family and Dan, how much chili powder would you put in?
About 2 teaspoons.
It's gorgeous tuna, look at that.
And when you're buying tuna, make sure that it is beautiful and pink. Because sometimes, you know, tuna is not from around here. It travels a bit. So it's very important the tuna is nice and fresh.
Do you want me to keep moving the tuna around
Yes,
like that?
please, yeah.
And could you do this with any other fish?
You can make this with swordfish. You can use monkfish. And also, being in Ireland, we have lovely mackerel during the summer. You can use it with mackerel fillets. So we drop in tomatoes in here.
They look great, don't they?
Yeah.
They're nice big chunks of tuna. Beautiful.
So we have several different varieties of chilies here. These are kind of quite milder as in spice-wise. So I'm just going to slice a little bit of this. We don't need all of it, about half. And also as chunkier as possible because it is going into the actual curry. So I'm going to add in half of my coconut milk in here. If you like to add in half a tablespoon of that tamarind paste.
This is it here.
Yeah.
That all right?
Yeah, that's it. And we give it a stir. So we're going to increase the temperature of the hob back up quite high and add in the other half of the coconut milk. And see the way like tuna doesn't break in the curry. So that is why monkfish wouldn't break either, as you know.
I love it's nice and light. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's not heavy. There's no flour. There's nothing thick in it.
So at this stage, it's nicely bubbling, as you can see. We are going to taste. And we can also adjust our tamarind taste, our salt, at this stage if we think we need to add any more.
It's probably very mild for you, isn't it? It is.
It is, but it does have a good
Kick. But I love it. It's not because I like spicy food anyway.
in the back of your throat as such. So when I'm serving this curry, I do not pull out any of these cinnamon sticks or my beautiful curry leaves because I want the person to see all those ingredients I have used in here.
Now I'm going to taste this. It's my first time having a tuna curry, you know that?
Is it?
Yeah, I swear. I've never had it. Look at the way that, you know, the tuna just flakes away. Beautiful. It's really aromatic. The tuna is beautiful and moist. And I think the whole combination just works so well. It's a really clean, light curry. Yeah. You're a fantastic teacher, and that was so delicious.
And thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you had your first tuna curry here, and I made it for you. So it's lovely.
It was delicious. Thank you.
The cycling and walking track beside the Royal Canal was originally the towpath used by horses that pull the barges. I wanted to travel along the Royal Canal itself and see some of the impressive 200-year-old engineering features which are still in use today. I joined Derek Whelan on board a boat belonging to Waterways Ireland to find out a little bit more about the historic waterway.
Derek, I've cycled along parts of the Royal Canal Greenway, and it's actually great to be on the canal.
Yes, we're now on the water. This is a very historic canal. It's about 230 years old. Started off in 1790 and it took 27 years. Started out of Dublin, got to Mullingar after 16 years, and then the company folded up. So it was eventually taken over by the government, and they completed this end of the work in a very short time, about 3 years, and reached the Shannon in 1817. The initial budget was about 150,000. It wound up costing about 1.5 million.
What was the canal used for when it was finished?
Well, the main purpose was to carry goods. So the kind of products that were carried were from the country. Turf was a big one, potatoes, grain, malt, and then from the city, coal, and also building materials, sand, gravel, stone, timber, anything like that could be carried easily on a boat.
Derek, you said that the barges were pulled by horses. How did that, just on the side there, was it?
Just on the towpath, yeah. But then when they changed to passenger boats, which were lighter, they got 2 horses and they got the speed up to about 10 miles an hour. So you could go from Dublin to Mullingar in about 6 hours. And their main advantage there was the travel was much more comfortable, much smoother than traveling on rocky roads. We're coming up now, Neven, to one of the most interesting pieces of engineering on the canal, which is the Whitworth Aqueduct. That was built in about 1816, and it was called after the Duke of Whitworth, who was a leading government official at the time, and who obviously would have provided some of the money for it. This takes us over the River Inny, and it's one of 3 major aqueducts on the canal. Just across on the other side, there's water being pumped in from the river down below, and this is to maintain the levels of the canal, because you must have the same level all the time so you've no current coming against you.
Is it being constantly pumped in?
It is constantly being pumped in because there's some leakage at various points on the canal, so it's necessary to maintain it at a constant level.
Okay. So Derek, every time the locks are emptied out, it needs to be refilled with water, is it?
That's correct, yeah. Every time it's used, water is lost, and then that's got to be topped up. So you need to keep a constant supply of water to keep the levels up.
When did the commercial traffic stop using the canal?
Well, the last boat trader finished in 1951. That was the Leach family. And boats continued to use the canal for about another 10 years. In 1961, it was officially closed and all navigation stopped. It was restored then over a period of time in the 70s and 80s. But really, the big development in recent times has been the development of the Greenway.
And where does it start and where does it finish?
Well, you can say it starts in Maynooth and it goes right over to the Shannon, which is 120 kilometres. So it is the longest cycle path in Ireland at the moment.
Derek, it's a fantastic amenity and I'm really looking forward to coming back here with my family. And thank you so much for your time this morning.
Oh, you're more than welcome, and I hope to see you on the canal again.
Lough Owle is just outside Mullingar, and it's where Joe Brady raises organic cattle, which he uses to produce very tasty burgers.
I farm here at the shores of Lough Owle. We've a 60-acre full organic symbol farm, and on the farm we raise our beef and we just convert all the beef into burgers, and we trade at events, markets, corporate dues, that sort of thing.
So Joe, tell me about the breed of beef that you have on your farm.
Well, I use an Angus bull as a sire, and I use short-horn cows then as the dams.
I can smell the onions. There's nothing nicer than onions. You've started with the onions. Is the burger on yet?
Yeah. Will I put a burger on?
I'd love to. That's why I'm here.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So tell me about the different cuts. Is there any specific cuts that you use for the burgers?
Well, I use everything from fillet down to chuck in the burgers. We mince it and mix it up twice.
Why do you mince it twice?
For the consistency of the meat on that particular animal. All the burgers going out in that day will taste the same. Whereas every animal will differ slightly in relation to how much fat was on them, the way the marbling was in the meat, etc., etc.
So it's pure meat you're
Pure
getting.
meat, yeah.
On all the different cuts, the whole carcass.
The whole lot, pure organic meat, yeah.
Beautiful. Isn't that, I love when it kind of caramelizes and gets, because that's what the flavour is, isn't it?
That's it, yeah.
But isn't it great for your customers that can come meet you? You're the farmer and you're the chef too.
Yeah,
so all your lovely organic beef, and then it's cooked in front of them.
It's a genuine farm to fork outfit.
So your onions, and what, like, is there any specific bun you serve it in, or what do you do?
Yeah, well, I normally use a brioche or a floury bap. I like to use a local veg. I'm using some goat cheese on this particular burger here, and tomatoes, and just the ketchup and the mayo, and a sprinkle of salt or pepper.
So there's no extra spices or herbs in your burger?
No, as simple as possible, not to mess with people's taste.
Yeah. Jamie, Mac. That's fantastic. You know, there's nothing nicer than a good burger.
That's €7, please.
Oh, hold on, I'm from Carver. I forgot my wallet in the car or on the bike. Brilliant! Oh my God, I'm so looking forward to this. I love the way you've kind of caramelised the onions. You've just kept it very simple and real.
Yeah.
That's like as good as burgers you'll ever eat.
Brilliant.
A beautiful combination.
Brilliant.
I love the beef.
Thank you.
It's moist.
Yeah.
You can everything just works so well. There's nothing too strong, or it's just a beautiful combination.
Yeah.
It's a credit to you.
Thanks very much.
I just love the whole journey of this burger from your own farm over the hill there, and then to be cooked. Beautiful. Well done.
Brilliant, brilliant.
I'm going to finish this, and hopefully the rain will stop.
Deadly.
Thank you. Lovely to see you.
Ned.
Thanks a million.
From the Royal Canal Greenway, I joined the cycleway at Mullingar and cycled on to Athlone. Just north of Athlone is Wineport Lodge. But before I go into the kitchen to cook with head chef Darren Walsh, I want to tell you about two Irish chocolatiers who are based up the road in Athlone and who are making these incredible looking chocolates. So I'm going to talk you through the selection that we have here. The first one, the orange one, is a creamy hazelnut one. And what they've done, they've roasted the whole hazelnut, so you can get a lovely creamy chocolate ganache and that crunch from that roasted hazelnut. It's delicious. The second one, the blue one here, which is one of my favourites, and it's a sea salted caramel. And they use a really good Irish sea salt from Oriel, which is a beautiful sea salt. So it's a lovely combination of salty caramel, the chocolate. I love them. The green one here is a lovely Irish mint one. So what they do is they infuse the ganache with some lovely fresh Irish mint, and it's lovely and fresh, so it is, with that gorgeous crunchy chocolate. And here's how they make it. The first thing Daniel does is he gets green cocoa butter, and using a pipette he goes into each individual mould, and he does 2 rows at a time. He blasts it with air using a spray gun, and what that does, it blows out air so it spreads on that lovely green cocoa butter all around the mould. Then he repeats the process using a different shade of green cocoa butter. After the moulds have been in the fridge for a couple of minutes just to set, Georgia takes them out and she fills them with couverture chocolate, and she uses a 43% cocoa solid, which is a really, really good chocolate to use. She fills them right up, and then she places the filled moulds with chocolate onto the vibrating table. This will knock out any excess air bubbles. She empties out the excess chocolate, scrapes it away, and there are the chocolate shells made. They go into the fridge to harden. When the shells are set, Georgia takes them out of the fridge, and then she fills them with a ganache. And for this one, she's using a mint-infused ganache, so it's lovely and fresh. So they go back into the fridge once more so that the filling is set. The next stage is making the base for the chocolate, which they call the cap. So Georgia gets the moulds and she puts some more couverture chocolate, again using the 43% cocoa, over the chocolates, and then she drains off the excess chocolate, and then what they need to do is go back into the fridge to harden up. The final stage of making the chocolates, Georgia takes the full tray of chocolates and she gives them a good bang against the table. And they reveal the beautiful chocolates in all their glory. These chocolates can take up to 2 to 3 days to make, so they're very labour intensive, but they're just so beautiful, so delicious, and so unique. Darren, it's great to be here in your kitchen in the Wineport Lodge. Thank you so much for having me. What are you going to cook for me?
I'm doing a pork belly. This large white pork from the local butcher. I'm going to slit it a little bit.
Okay.
Put little lines in this so the rub can get into it.
Tell me what we're going to do.
We have oregano, onion powder,
okay,
and then you have freshness.
Interesting, lime zest.
Lime. And then a bit of a kick.
And then the black mustard seeds.
And then we have coriander seeds here. Orange zest. I'm using a lot of orange zest in my food lately. So I'm going to mix that together. But before I put that on, I'm just going to put a bit of garlic. So I'm not putting the garlic into the rub because it'll just dry it all up and I won't be able to spread the rub around. So I'm just going to put the garlic around first and get that all into it, and then putting the rub in. So I'm just doing a little dollop.
I think you're probably one of the first chefs I've ever seen doing a rub on meat. This is fantastic. I'm learning here, so I am.
Well, that's good.
Thank you. Well,
that's what it's all about,
great,
you know. Well, that's the whole thing about chefing, isn't it?
We never stop learning.
Here we have basil, and we stretch it a little bit with some spinach, because I want to get that green colour when you cut it. I want to be able to see the stuffing. So when I roll it, it's like a roulade, so it's like a Swiss roll. So what you do is you just make a lasso, just making one like that.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm just going to roll this.
See the way you're kind of crushing it in.
Yeah.
You're really trying to compress it. Yeah. Lovely.
So we're just making one lasso and just bring that down tight.
That looks absolutely beautiful. I love the way you tied it up, you rolled it. My God, fantastic.
It is. It's a fantastic
Just
piece.
brilliant.
Look at it.
Brilliant. So how are you going to cook this now?
We're going to make a bed with our onions and our carrots. So for this size pork, I'm using 1.5 Spanish onions.
And the same for carrots?
Same with carrots. I'm using 3 carrots. And then we just a bit more herbs. You see, I love me herbs.
Oh, you do. Look at this fresh thyme. Oh, it's rosemary. Lovely.
So that's our bed. And then the main ingredients, the cider. Now what we're doing is we're just going to pour the cider over.
And do you cover that with tin foil or anything?
Yeah.
And of course you're keeping all the moisture in there when you're doing that.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. Keep
Fab.
it really tight. As I said, I'm doing the day before, so I usually put this in before we go to bed. Before we're leaving the kitchen, we put it in, and then the breakfast chef comes in the morning and takes it out and starts cooling it down for me. So, Neven, this is the pork.
Look at it.
Look at the way that's going through it,
So that's the spinach.
That's the spinach,
and
the
the
basil. Yeah. And it's through it, so the flavour's going through it. So what I done was I cut a slice of that, and I'm starting it off in the oven here.
Okay.
And we're going to start cook that in the oven, and we're going to make a sauce here.
Lovely.
So just a knob of butter there, not much, just to stop it from sticking and everything. So just get that melting.
A little bit of onion, yeah.
Bit of onion and some mushroom.
Sliced mushroom.
Yeah, so this is the liquor.
That's it. There's great flavour into that.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can smell it,
it.
can't you?
Beautiful.
What I done over here was I pureed all the vegetables. That was the base of the pork. So getting all the flavours, nothing is going out, it's all there. And this thickens the sauce, so you don't have to reduce the sauce so much either. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put this pork into the sauce.
Lovely. So, good to serve up?
Yeah, perfect. It's all ready. And what we're going to do is we're going to do it with our cabbage.
So you've kind of shredded the cabbage and cooked
Shredded
that.
the cabbage, and I put a bit of apple juice into it when I was boiling it. And then I finished it off with a little bit of cream.
Gorgeous.
And then we have the pork.
Oh, wow.
And that's fantastic. That's a dish.
That's a generous, generous portion. Can't wait to taste it.
Enjoy now,
Thank
enjoy.
you. Look at that. You know, that is such a great technique. Oh, yum.
You're getting the flavours.
Yeah, and the orange.
Yeah, the orange is great, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
Just a bit of a,
Wow.
a bit of a kick.
That's the really predominant flavour for me.
Yeah.
Darren, thank you so much.
Listen, it was a
Love
pleasure
your
having you.
passion for food. Thank you.
Yeah, well, lovely being with you.
Next week, I'm cycling along the Waterford Greenway, which follows part of the route of the old Waterford to Mallow railway line. I'll be meeting a selection of food producers and chefs along the way. Starting in Dungarvan, travelling to Kilmacthomas, and ending up in Waterford City. I hope you'll join me.